today. Let's settle for our internet discussion. We want to finish that conversation today, right here and now. And I have Kobe Nkrumah, Spiky, right here in the studio. That's the geek who leads the Geek Squad on Joy FM. Hey, what's up?
I'm good. What's up?
Okay, so I'm good as well. And momentarily we'll have Dr. Rabiu Asante, also at the University of Ghana, join us. He is into data analysis. Of course, he's a data researcher, and also he is a sociologist. So he doesn't just do analysis with the data. He takes the data and then he tries to relate it to society. So apparently there is some much more interesting information coming from the analysis that we did yesterday. Yeah. And Spiky, so if you did not listen to that conversation yesterday, basically what we did was that we looked at the trends of what people are doing online. What people are doing online, which are the networks that people are spending time on online. And Google, of course, was #1, which was understandable. But there was an interesting trend, and that interesting trend was that people were doing a lot of social media, and by social media, they were doing mostly Facebook. People were doing betting sites. People were doing free websites, what was that?
Free downloads. Yeah,
free downloads. So website that's allowed for free downloads. People were doing a lot of that as well. And then people were doing pornography. So we said yesterday that we're going to focus the discussion today on how we can harness the potential of the internet for our individual development as well as national development. And Dr. Rabiu will help me do that. Dr. Rabiu, you're welcome.
Good evening to your listeners as well as your audience.
All right, thank you very much. So let me start the conversation with Spiky here. Spiky, what have we found beyond what we found yesterday?
Okay, so yesterday I did some digging after we found some of the links that were leading people into other sites that we couldn't actually find out what they were doing. So a link like the AFRTRK. Doing some background check into AFRTRK, I realized there was a tracker that was sending people to other websites.
Okay.
Now, they has to be getting.
So hold on, just to get it clear, AFRTRK is what?
AFRTRK is like a link that gets traffic from another website and directs them to another website.
So it's like an ad.
A syndication of websites where they serve ads, basically. Now, when you take a website, most of them make money from advertising. Now, Google has its policies, and most of these ad agencies have policies. And if you are serving pornographic content, you can't advertise
on Google.
On Google, you can't use Google's ad network on your website.
Okay.
Now, so you start a website that serves content that is not, does not follow the community guidelines of these ad networks. You have to go for another ad network that gives you this, and that's what AFRTRK does.
Okay.
So looking at AFRTRK's source of traffic, most of it coming from Ghana, was from porn sites. Again.
Okay. So AFRTRK looks like it's found a smart way of getting their adverts go to people by using these porn websites to attract. So it's not necessarily, initially when we got the information, it's as if, okay, so Ghanaians are much more interested in pornography. So it might be an erroneous conclusion to make. It could be. Spiky. I mean, yeah. You always have to look at the other side of the coin. It could be that people are just being led on by this AFRTRK and whatever it uses to attract.
They actually get to AFRTRK through porn sites
and
betting, and they lead people to betting sites. So if you look at the graph, it actually shows the traffic coming from porn sites and free download sites to AFRTRK that redirects you to betting sites. So they're taking money from these betting sites and then advertising them on other sites.
Okay, so they take money from the betting sites and then they use the porn site as a hook. To get you.
That's so if you look at the similar sites, like sites that are similar to AFRTRK, they're all related to pornography and betting and free downloads. So that's the trinity.
I see. That's a trinity indeed. That's a trinity. Let's engage Dr. Rabiu a bit more on this, and later I'll come back to you. So we talk about how we can use, whether or not we can use technology, same technology, you know, to deal with some of these things, so that you don't get caught up in this trinity. But Dr. Rabiu, yesterday you spoke to us about education, how we can harness, you know, the potential of internet for education. You spoke about how we can embark on this satellite distribution of internet, especially to rural communities, so that schools and students in schools there can benefit from the power of the internet. You've seen we've seen how people are interested in betting sites, and we've seen how people are interested somehow also in pornography sites. We've also seen how people are how companies like the AFRTRK is taking advantage of this desire, you know, that people have. From what you see, you know, studying the data and listening to the conversation, what can you say about this trend and how we can redirect the energy?
Well, I think the majority has to be awareness.
Oh.
I don't think people are on what's the rate such platform education styles of help.
So I can barely hear you. I think we're going to have to work the line again and get you properly so we can hear you properly. And because I hear you, but it's not that clear. It's not that clear. Okay, so let's try and fix Dr. Rabiu on there. Perhaps probably place a phone call as well, and then try and get that sound. Since we're doing tech, we need to get it right. Okay, so I was asking earlier that I'll come back to you to find out whether or not there's a way, you know, technologically to deal with this redirection.
Well, they're looking to get paid. So it's the only way they can make money, these sites. And trying to stop it means trying to stop people from accessing the leave sites, i.e. the porn sites and the free downloads, and we can't ensure that. The only thing I could probably stop them from going to these free download sites is if copyright laws were very tight in Ghana. You know, elsewhere you can't download even music for free. A friend of mine went to the UK for the first time and downloaded a song, and he had a fine on that very day. Right. If that kind of thing was working in Ghana, then you'd be assured that people won't be downloading free stuff.
Because there's a mechanism to make sure that you don't download, you don't try to even download for free. And people know it, so they don't even try. But here in Ghana, you can download a whole album.
The whole
and you know, there are people who actually you know, there are people actually who download everything and reproduce it and sell.
Exactly.
I mean, that's mind-boggling. You can't make sense of it.
Yeah, they're doing it.
So that's because there isn't a system that checks it.
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
There is no system.
Okay, so it means that this can't be stopped, basically.
Basically.
So people will continue to patronize the pornography sites. AFRTRK will continue making money
from them
off their choices. And you see, on Friday, we'll be having this conversation about what overexposure to pornography does to you. Yeah, there's a very interesting theory, and we'll be talking to people who will help us understand it. The exposure of your brains, because a lot of researchers and scientists would, counselors will tell you that sex is actually here. It's not so much of the physical act. So when it breaks down here because of your exposure to pornography, how it can then affect you, you know, the physical part. And stop nodding like that. Oh. You know? And so we'll be having, but it's a very important conversation that we need to have, that overexposure to pornography and the effects of it. I mean, it might give you some excitement right now, but there are certainly effects. Can we try Dr. Rabiu once again to find out if we can carry this conversation on? Okay, we'll get back to Dr. Rabiu shortly, as and when we do have him. But back to you, Spikey. What more can we say about the trend, the trend of what Ghanaians are doing online? I mean, it's been a day. Has anything changed at all?
No, but I did some more research.
Okay, tell us about it.
Besides Alexa, there are other websites that also do rankings. And surprisingly, on another website, there was even higher rankings for betting and pornography again.
Okay, which are these sites?
So there's a site called SimilarWeb.
Okay.
It's based in Israel, and they collect data from websites just like Alexa does.
Alexa does,
And
okay.
for that, Google is number 1 as usual, YouTube is number 2, Facebook number 3, Yahoo number 4, Google number 5. Instagram is higher on SimilarWeb at number 6, and then there's Betway at number 7, and then we have Twitter at number 8 and Ghana Web at number 9. Then it goes.
So porn is at number 9.
Porn is at number 11.
Oh, number 11.
SimilarWeb.
But yesterday on Alexa, it was at, I think, 31 or so.
Yeah, 23.
Oh, 23.
Yes.
23. Okay. Okay.
And so luckily over here, you have more. We don't have the tracking links because they know that that's what they do. So
Okay.
they exempt them from this.
Oh,
list.
from that. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But then we still have more porn here than we had because at number
Okay.
26.
So if you
is
take the first 25, because yesterday we found porn in the first 25. So if you take
first
the
25
similar web,
images.
the similar web first 25, how many porn sites do you
2.
have there? You have 2.
Yes.
Okay. Pretty much like what we had yesterday,
Exactly.
because yeah. Okay. So
But-
that's quite accurate, you could
It
say.
is accurate.
And in terms of how long people are spending
Okay,
on
for
these sites,
SimilarWeb,
they don't have that.
It tells you how much they've risen. It doesn't tell you how much time they spent there. You have
Okay.
to pay to get that more information.
Okay. So yesterday we knew that about averagely people were spending about 15 minutes
Yes,
on these porn
on the
sites.
porn sites.
And if you take Facebook, which was very popular, in fact, way at the top,
at the top.
way before porn comes,
They spend about
they're
8
spending
minutes.
about between 8 and 9 minutes.
Yeah.
8 and 9 minutes. Can we go through again yesterday the list from Alexa and just look at the time allocations once again, and perhaps we can do some
So
comparisons
for Google,
there.
they spend an average of 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
For YouTube, it's also 8 minutes.
Okay.
For the news website at Ghana Web, it's 13 minutes.
Okay.
On Facebook, about 9 minutes. Google is 6 minutes. Google, the local Google. And the Yahoo is 3 minutes.
Okay.
On the betting site, Betway, 7 minutes. On the
Okay.
end, it's about 2 minutes. And Wikipedia, 4 minutes.
Okay.
Junior and e-commerce site, 6 minutes. GH page and news site, 3 minutes. MyJoy Online, 8 minutes.
Okay.
And Celebrity Buzz, 1 minute. Blog Sports, 3 minutes. And AFRTRK, as we mentioned, just under 1 minute
Okay.
because it's a gateway.
So basically, 15 minutes on porn.
Yeah.
So 15. So porn is the number 1 site that people spend a lot of time on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's video. But
No, but really,
YouTube is 8
but
minutes.
YouTube is 8 minutes. So if you're making that argument that it's video, and
Pleasure is very important to people.
sorry. Okay, I think I heard that. I think you said pleasure is very important to people. Okay, well, when you have a lot of politics going on, when you have a lot of disturbing news going on as far as party militia is concerned, but again, when people know the problems they expose themselves to, when they expose themselves to porn, I think it will change. Because think about the energy, the cost, and the attention that you're giving to this site, which you could have used on other sites that are beneficial.
We still have the sports part to talk about too.
Sports.
So besides that, they're doing betting. Now, I would think that people would leverage on this betting thing to create a sort of income generation thing that is, much better.
I mean, betting is still not as healthy,
Yeah, but the sports, they watch the football
Okay.
and then so they bet.
So you'd think that people would rather spend their time on, making something off the betting, websites rather than spending the time on porn.
Yeah, that's
not like what you wanted to say. Please say what you wanted to say.
It's in between that. I think that people are just, like you mentioned, tired of bad news and all that. So they're looking for somewhere else to de-stress, if I should put it that way. So they wouldn't go to a news site and spend much time there. They just go there, see the headlines. It's bad news all over again. So you know what? Let me just go watch football. That'll calm me down. Let me go watch some pornography. That'll calm me down. Not me, but that person.
Well, nobody said it was you. We know you don't do that. Oh, do you?
I do not.
I mean, yeah, you can tell me after the show too. But I think I am still having an issue with Dr. Rabiu on Skype to get us his perspective, and that makes me really sad. So let me wrap up with this conversation with Spiky right here in the studio. Unfortunately, we we're unable to get Dr. Rabiu Asante to finish the conversation. But Spiky, you're telling me behind the scenes just how people can take advantage of the internet, really, rather than spending our times on other things that people might think are not that helpful. Take us through that and let's wrap up.
Well, so there's so many ways of making money on the internet. I mean, I've seen that a lot of people are very smart when it comes to football. They're able to give very good analytics. I would start a football blog if I was that, if I knew that much about football, and then talk about it, give analytics, and even give predictions to people who would like to go bet. That way you could even be making money from people that visit your sites because they trust you as an authority, and then you could build a reputation.
You're able to make predictions that actually make them win.
Yes, yes. You make predictions. Or you could start a YouTube channel, gather your friends, you guys sit down, talk about football, because I've seen that that's what people are interested in. A lot of people are interested in the sports. For the adult content, there really isn't anything you can do about it because you're not promoting censorship of the internet in Ghana. That would take away our freedom of internet, if I should put it that way.
Well, it's freedom. It's freedom of information, basically, because that's what the internet does. Yes. Brings you information, good, bad information, all of that in the mix. So you can really do something with this access that you have.
That data, you can do something. You know what people are looking for. Serve that to them, and then make money from it, rather than being the product and a consumer.
So right now, what you are is the consumer and the product, and people are making money off of you. Especially, bear in mind, especially those who like porn, lots of people are making money off of you. They are redirecting links. And also know that your computer could be hacked, your system could be hacked, and people would be using your information. You don't want that to happen. It did not end the way that, the Dr. Rabiu's perspective would have helped us a lot as well, as far as governance and development, etc. is concerned. But it's all good. Spiky, thank you so much for coming. And I hope that people are really taking a cue from this conversation. Gather your friends, get a YouTube channel, get going, talk about football, talk about, all of those things. Get yourself into some predictions and see how that earns you some money.